Welcome to today's podcast episode on MonicaAnn. I'm your host, MonicaAnn. If you have not done so, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a podcast episode. Welcome to the podcast today, and I'm so grateful. Karina Weeks is here to share her testimony. I happened to be scrolling on Facebook and I saw a video that you posted. And if you could please just share with us what inspired you for the video.
Sure. Hi, Monica. First of all, it's nice to see you. It's been a while, but you still look beautiful as I remember you.
Oh, ditto.
The latest video I've made, I got inspired by my personal experience in life. And then I found this Bible verse, which is Exodus 14:14, that says, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." I translated it to myself as be strong in your faith and God will fight for you. So many of us have different struggles, different things we're going through. As people, of course, the road is never really just going straight. It's always bumpy, and relating to my career as an entertainer, actress, director, I faced a lot of challenges in my life, and I dedicated this video to the one who helped me throughout the road, throughout all those difficulties and struggles, to God. I wanted to make something that I was going through, really speaking strongly from my heart, and I wanted to bring this message to people because I know that there are a lot of people going through difficulties. It doesn't matter they're doing the same thing I'm doing or something else. We all face those difficulties and we lose strength. We don't know what to do. We get so stressed out. We need help. And a lot of times people try to find help in something really not useful or something that will bring them relief, but it would be just for a little moment, and then they get back to darkness.
Yeah.
So and that could be drugs, or that could be alcohol, that could be sex, that could be other temptations that we have in this world, and they lose themselves. And with this message, I wanted to bring people to the right healing, the answer of how they can go through the struggles and still stand strong on their feet. And a lot of my friends, my family, even, and people that I know, they need that message. They need that spiritual message. And
if you're planning a trip to Vegas, don't forget to pre-book your off-road adventure with Adrenaline Junkies using code MonicaAnn for 10% off the subtotal before taxes. You can enjoy the thrill of an off-road adventure to the famous ghost town and even add on a trip to the Hoover Dam, cliff dive at Lake Mead, the shooting range, and a helicopter tour over the Las Vegas Strip. Just go to adrenalinejunkies.co to book now.
And when I was making the video, I put my heart and soul in it. And I hope that I got that message across because it's very important. It's a very important message that we need to find healing through God, through faith. And if you are really not strong, not strong in your faith, you're weak, you're slammed down with the struggle that came your way. There is a way to get up. There is a way to stand strong, but not on your own. You can't do it on your own. You just can't do it on your own. Whatever you might be a really strong person, you have a really strong beliefs in something else, but honestly, you can't do it on your own. You got to ask God for help. You got to ask God, please help me get up right now, and please guide me, please show me the way, and you will find that healing. So that's what I was trying to tell people, bring that message, it's so close to my heart, because whatever I went, through my journey, life journey, each time I got up, it was just with my faith with God. Each time I was able to go forward and keep doing what I'm doing, is just because he pulled me up and he told me, hey, you get up right now, and open your heart, let me in, and I will fight your battles. I will fight your struggles. I will straighten you. So that's what I was trying to say through the video. So I hope I reached some people. I hope.
Yes, I definitely saw the video. And, not only was it absolutely beautiful, but yes, I think you definitely conveyed that message. It's really cool. A lot of people are so afraid to share their faith too on public platforms. It's kind of like politics, right? And people are so afraid to declare their faith because, you can actually, I have lost followers because I have come out with my faith, and I've been going to church since the third grade. But I was silent for a reason, and I'll do a video on that, later on. But I didn't post about it publicly for years, and I started to again just a couple years ago. And I lost friends on social media because of it, and I was like, I don't care, I'm doing it anyways, And just like you said, I have, and a lot of other people can relate to that when you are seeking anything as the solution to your problems, whether it be a substance or, maybe it's even your spouse or your kids, and you're finding your identity in that, none of it is concrete, and you will fall flat every time. And until you ask, just like scripture says, ask and you shall receive, but you have to come to him. You have to go to God and ask for that. And yeah, it's so beautiful. Are you able to go into a little bit more detail as to your specific struggle that you had? Were you struggling with a substance?
Yes, definitely. There are so many difficult struggles I went through, especially coming to this country. I was 19.
Where are you from?
Originally I'm from Armenia, but I grew up in Russia.
Oh,
It's close by to Moscow, like 30 minutes away or so. It's a suburb. I grew
cool.
up there. Oh, hello, my friends. If you can see.
Yes.
Yeah. But just coming to a different country by myself. Well, I had my friend with me. She invited me. There was this work and travel opportunity for us to take, and I said, okay, why not? I was going through drama. Well, I wouldn't say drama, but it was also a really difficult time in my life back home, and I kind of took that opportunity of trying to find something better, trying to find a new solution for problems that I had. It was my father got ill at that time, and then thank God he's feeling better. But I know that I have to take this step. It was really scary, but I had this thing in my head that I can make things better. I will try make things better. That's how, so we took this trip, and it was not exactly what I was told it's going to be. It was the work that we were supposed to get. It was not really, basically it was no work. It was just like, okay, you come here and then you go back home. It's kind of, I don't know what it was, honestly. I couldn't figure out exactly what they're doing, but they were not doing good things. So and I end up basically just, you can say on the street, you can say that, like just like not having anywhere to go, basically, because I left
Wow.
that place. And I'm alive right now just because God, because otherwise I would not be alive, basically. So I
Amen.
understand that. And all amen. And all those struggles, finding a place to live, finding a way to provide for myself, adjusting to a new language. I didn't speak any. I mean, I thought I knew something, but yeah, hi, bye.
Yeah, that's
And
so brave of you. I can't even imagine. I only know English. I don't know any other languages, and I cannot even imagine going over to Russia and not knowing anything. That is very brave
it
of
was
you.
really, it was really scary, yeah. But it was kind of like, or I'm taking the step and making a difference, or I'm staying back there and watching my family just fall apart. So I picked the other way. And I prayed to God. I said, God, you want me to go on this, journey? If you're gonna be with me, okay, I'm ready.
Oh,
So, but I didn't know what I was getting into, I was just like, okay, I trust God, if there's an opportunity like this, let's see what happens. So now, after so many years, yeah, I've been in US for like probably like 14 years now. My life is like completely changed, like where I am right now and when I just moved to US is just without God, it's impossible. It's just absolutely impossible. If not, believing and just letting, just saying, okay, I'm gonna walk with you, God. Okay, I don't have anything to eat right now, but I believe in you. I know that you're gonna help me find a way to find food, find a way to find shelter, find a way to walk with you on this journey. And he did. And he did. I'm here right now. I'm doing this podcast
yeah,
with
same.
you. This is awesome.
Yeah, and same. I have a very similar, testimony where I had nothing. I had nothing. And,
Mm-hmm.
you get to that point, and I think it even gives you a stronger foundation of faith when you've been in a position like you and I have, where you had no money, you had no food, all you had was your faith.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
we know God is real because there's no other logical
Mm-hmm.
explanation
Exactly.
as to why we are where we are today. And how
Yeah.
cool is it that, you ended
Mhm.
up in Vegas during this journey, and that's where you and I met at. We
So
met.
first was Miami. Oh,
Oh,
whoa.
so first
First
you went
was
to Miami.
Miami.
Okay, so go ahead. We're
When
gonna
I saw that
we'll go to
ocean,
Miami. You fell
when I
in
saw
love.
that beautiful Lazur Ocean, I'm like, well, there is something about this place. I'm coming from there's like, cold, cold snow. People, very stressed out, and then I'm walking through the street of Miami, and like people like, hey, como esta? Everybody's like laughing. And when I saw that ocean, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm gonna fight for this.
I love
I'm
it.
not going.
Oh, how
So, and I
fun.
imagine, like imagine my family moving here, to US, and that just, I was like, okay, I'm ready. What do I do? Where do I start work? So yeah, that dream,
Wow.
but I know that God put that dream in my head. It's not just like I just like came and then like, oh, okay, great, this is gonna work out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful. So, and then how long did you live in Miami?
I was there for 6 months or so. Yeah, maybe a little longer. And then I moved to Vegas. There was some work opportunities there. I
And was
worked
this
as a
all? Oh,
investor. Yeah.
that was my question. Was it, have you always done the acting and modeling?
No, no. So at first I was just working as I was giving out flyers for a scooter company.
Nice.
And that was was that was a journey because I was standing under that heat for like, hours and hours, and I was getting paid really not, enough to afford anything, but I mean, I needed some money. So and that, I remember that moment when I just walked. I knew that I needed a job, or I'm gonna die basically. So I walk in, I like this fast walk. I'm like, this place, this one, this is the right place. I open the door, and there was this guy sitting, man. He was Venezuelan man. By the way, if you can see me, I remember you. So I told him, listen, I need a job right now. You got to give me a job. And there is no, like, you can't tell me no. And I remember I was saying that in Italian because I knew a little bit Italian, not in English. And thank God he was a Spanish guy. Well, there's a lot of Spanish there in Miami, right? So he understood what I meant. He was like, yeah. And I was like, dinero, I need dinero, I need work. Lavoro, like some Italian stuff.
That is
and he was like,
amazing.
he was like, you're getting a job right now. Go right now. And he gave me this job for like what it was like, I don't know, $3-4 an hour. I don't know. It was like really, or sometimes he would buy me soup, like he would ask me like, he was a nice person. He was like, would you like a soup? I was like, yeah, please. I need soup. It was really
Aww,
interesting.
that
Yeah.
was nice
So
of him. That's awesome.
yeah, he was, well, I would, there's reasons people do certain things. He might, I don't know what was his reason. I don't want to go in details, but the most important is that I got a job, and then from there I started learning a little bit of English. After a while I got another job because I learned a little bit of English, so I could actually say a couple words. So that was another position as a hostess in the restaurant. I started working in the Italian restaurant because of course I need to find some Italians because I spoke a little bit Italian. So yeah, like that, God, like one step, and then another step. And then I got, a little bit of savings. The place I stayed, I remember, was like 4 or 5 roommates, and my friend that came with me, she was sleeping with me in one bed. There was another girl, there was another boy in another. Basically, I would never. If somebody would tell me this, that would happen to me, I'd be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
Like no way, because my family always provided for us. We would like, I would say we were saved in our, growing up. My family always provided. I didn't have to get a job or anything. My university was paid. My dad paid my university. So yeah, my life changed like really like 100 degrees.
Yeah.
I ended up.
You got this vision from God and you went for it. You said, all right, this is where I'm going. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm going on faith alone and go to the US. I don't know any English. I have no food. I have no money, and we're going to figure it out. Wow. We're going to figure it
Well, but
out.
I mean, you see the program itself, when they told me what we're going to do, it was we work in front of the computer, we learn some language too, and then we travel. That was the program. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
So
now you're here in the US and it didn't happen that way. Got it.
no,
Oh, wow.
I'm not on the computer typing.
Wow. And at what point did you move to Vegas? Like, what year was this?
Gosh, yeah, that's a good question. Maybe like that was after 7 months or 6 months in Miami, I moved to Vegas. So that was year. I don't remember what year it was. I was in my 20s.
In your 20s.
I was 20.
Wow. Yeah. And
Me
then,
too.
so I met you in Vegas and you were auditioning for a part. I will never forget that. And we sat next to each other. I think you were wearing a red dress, if I remember correctly. I have a very good memory. And so,
Wow,
yeah. And
Monica, wow.
I know. And so I sat next to you. I remember that we were like in a waiting room and, just kind of awkwardly sitting there. We have no idea what we're doing. And then you and I actually got picked to go read together. And it was my first speaking job that I had ever been asked to do. I was not prepared. I didn't know it was speaking. And so I thought it was really cool that I got to sit with you and you really led it. I was just feeding off of what you said because I knew you had obviously done that before. And you made me feel so comfortable. You were so nice. I did not get the part. Did you end up getting the part for that?
Yeah, that was
You did get the part.
they took us to Elko. Did you go to Elko with
That's
us?
awesome. No, no, I ended up not getting the
You
part.
didn't? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
Oh
didn't
no,
get the
that would have
part.
been so good if you would.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah. And then you and I ended up becoming Facebook friends. And that's pretty much it. We met the one time. And, I saw your Facebook post and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have you on my podcast and to share your testimony about how everything went. And, it's got to be crazy. Where are you living now?
I'm right now in South Carolina. Um,
Very cool.
it's very green comparing to Las Vegas. By the way, about what you were saying, I was going to tell you that uh, you have a really genuine. And I was just telling my mother-in-law today because she said, "Oh, you having a podcast?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm having a podcast with the lady. Her name is Monica, and I met her in Vegas. And she's like, "Oh, remember? Oh, okay. And what about her?" And I just said, "She's genuinely a good person because it's really hard in Vegas, LA. I lived in LA for some time. It's honestly really hard to find genuinely good person in those areas like entertainment and when I see someone like I can feel the energy, when I can feel, I remember
Aw.
that I remembered you, like I remembered
Yeah.
your energy. I remember that you were
Oh.
genuinely good person because everybody's just like just smiling in your face, and then they're like put a knife on your back and like say, this
Oh.
girl, whatever. But I remember you because I felt that genuine uh good, positive uh, energy. A good person is really hard to find. It's very rare. So that's why I remember you, Monica.
Oh,
I
and
really.
same. I remember you, like I said, even in the waiting room, I had no idea at that point. You smiled at me that I was going to end up getting paired up with you, to read. And then when we got in the room, I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And you just took to it. And I followed your lead and went with it. I ended up not getting the part, but you did. And that's amazing. And yeah, and then we became Facebook friends. And so I'm really glad that I had that impression on you. That's all that I want to do, and just like you were saying, like what we've been through in our lives, we've seen darkness, we've seen struggle. And I have one goal at this point in my life, well, really for my whole life, is just to be the light to other people. So I'm so glad that you felt that because, I will die a happy woman if that's the only thing that I do is, treat people kindly and that I'm here to listen whenever
Yeah,
they need a friend. So that's beautiful.
yeah.
I,
And I
I'm
think
really happy.
God put people together. God
Yes.
connects people back, together. If
Yeah.
it meant if we meant to have this podcast, God connected us back again, although we were not communicating for so long. That's why I was saying it's incredible. Like it's just
Yeah.
magic. It's like, how is this possible? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. And that's awesome. And I'm so glad that I met you. And, if there's one thing for people who are watching right now, what is a message that you would want to get out? Because hopefully a lot of people will see this, and
Yeah, I hope.
relate to your testimony and, what would you want to say? Oh, you know what? Actually, before we get to that, sorry, did you grow up religious? How did you even come to God to begin with?
Good question. Yes. So, yes, my family, my mom, my dad, they raised us Christian. They my dad would take us to church. Um, we even had icons. I remember in our apartment back in Russia, he had this icons, and we had this candles there, and he would like tell us, this is Jesus, this is Mother Mary. Let's light a candle. He I wouldn't say he pressured us into faith or anything like that. He wouldn't do that. Like, he would just show us like an example. Like, he would say, okay, I'm going to church. Would you like to come? And we're like, yeah. He would never like say, hey, you gotta get up 6 a.m. We gotta be in church. Not like that. It was never pressure or just some kind of like a rule or something like that. No, it was just by his example, and my mom as well, by his example, by his journey, what he was going through and how he was finding strength. That's how I saw that's the way, and I was proud of my dad, because he went through so much. Um, uh, but that example, it's and it's just so important. I think, like, now I have two little ones, and by example we have to show them, not by pressure. I don't think the pressure, and certain rules when you put, I don't think that really has an effect. It could be sometimes negative. It could like push people away. But by example, by being in faith yourself, by praying to God, and by getting through those difficult moments with God, that's how I saw it. And I think that had a big impression on me. And I can't say that, it's a perfect journey either. Like, faith is just like, I'm always, I drift away sometimes. I do.
Same.
And then it happens because we get so busy, we get all these things. It's like, and then, but then we just have to pray. And it's even happened recently. I had to pray to God, my God, please help me to strengthen my faith. Help me to not drift away. Help me to believe in you even more. Help me with my unbelief. I'm not perfect, and we're all sinners. We all do things, and then we're like, why did I do this? We make mistakes, and we drift away. But that, what I found, what helps me not to drift away and not to I wouldn't say forget that, maybe, I always remember that there's God, but just walk step by step with God. What helps me is to have that time that I spend on talking to God. And there are different, people, and people are differently practicing their faith, and that's okay. And they find their way. You got to find what helps you to connect with God the most. And one of those things for me was also creating the latest video I did. That helped me connect with God even more, because I promised to God, I said, God, I really want to make this video. Can you please help me make this video? And I felt so connected during the shoot. I was so connected with God, more than I would be, for example, in church, for example, sitting praying. I was more connected because I was actually practicing my faith in action. I was there, I was doing something, and God knows I put my soul in it. Although people don't want to hear this message, and I know, as you said, you're gonna get old, maybe half of your followers gonna say bye-bye.
Yeah, but
whatever, bye-bye, like.
But like they say, the one. And if you reach one person, and maybe somebody who was struggling in their faith, it's worth it. And that's why, I took the risk of doing this podcast. I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm so scared to do this, but I feel a calling to do it, just like you did with the video, and how cool is that you got the call from God to make that video and you listened, and that's the next step. And it's crazy that you just said that, that sometimes you fall away, and I love your vulnerability about that, because I was just thinking about that today and drafting a future podcast, and I was talking about that the biggest mistake that people can make is not recognizing the fact that you have to stay constant with God and understanding that you do have the ability to fall off. Because the biggest mistake that a believer can say is, well, I'm saved, so I'm good, I'm going to heaven, and everything is solved, all my problems are solved. And it's so important for us to recognize that, is that we have to constantly be going back to him. So that's beautiful. And it's so funny that you brought that up. And I love that. And I think it's great that you followed the calling from God and you made that video, and you're being a voice for him. So, and even again, that one person, I saw your video. So, and the fact that you're,
yay, it's working.
yeah. And the fact that you're agreeing to be on the podcast, and share it a little more in detail, your testimony. So that's so cool. And I'm sure that your dad is proud. You're sitting here, sharing your faith.
I hope so. I hope, my Father in heaven also proud of me.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're just vessels, we're nothing without God, and a lot of people in the industry, like I'm just talking about the entertainment, they all put their names out there. I'm this and I'm that, and whatever. But they forget that there would be nothing without God, and I don't forget that, because I honestly, I cannot do it without his help. And I see that each step when he helps me, I see each step, like I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And I don't care that maybe some people gonna say, oh, this is ridiculous or whatever. I'm not working for those people. I'm working for God. He's using me, my talent, and I'm letting him use my talent. And I might not end up being, this some kind of a big actress or anything like that. And I'm okay with that. It's like, if my focus is not fame or is not money, and if it was, I would probably be there already in my 20s. When I was in LA, I did have opportunities that I could take to be somewhere, maybe further in my career, but I decided not to do it. I decided not to forget, where I'm coming from, forget all the principles I have, how much work my parents did on raising me, and forget God, I and then be like, okay, I could be sitting somewhere, wow, I'm Karina Weeks, hi, on the red carpet or something, and be the most unhappiest person in the world. If I could use my talents in just just doing my own things, making those videos or something, or just teaching kids acting or something like that, I would be happy. I would not, because I would be, first of all, I would be myself. I would not sell my soul. I would still get up and say, hey, good job today, you're doing something good, God would be proud of you. Versus being somewhere with so much money, being a puppet for somebody. They say, okay, put this thing on yourself, do your hair like this, this is the script, this is exactly what you're gonna say right now, this is the story that you're gonna tell, and please shut up. And don't say anything else. Like, I don't want to be that person, and I feel like when you get there and you sell yourself, just to get to to your desirable dream, then you'll probably end up there. You'll end up being not yourself, and doing something that you will drown, in a swamp. It's like a swamp. So
Yeah.
if God wants me to get, I trust God. So whatever he wants me to get, if he wants me to use my talents and just, do something small, I'm happy with it. I say, okay, thank you. I can still do what I love, and help people in the way you want me to help them, you know. And the message that you asked me, what message I want to say, I want to say that no matter what your dream is, no matter how hard you want it, and trust me, I want it so hard. When I went to LA again, it was a crazy journey. Maybe we can talk about this another time. But there was there was a path that I could take. I go with God, and I don't get what I want. At that moment. And that, or I get what I want, and then I'll be, this miserable person, because I know that I'm a strong-willed person. If somebody will tell me every day what to do, I would go crazy. And like being involved in all this dark movies that's coming out right now, sometimes I look at it and I'm like, what's going on? This is really nuts.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. And these people are going and doing all those things.
Yeah.
And then they making all this.
I was listening to a video, and what they said was, wow, it's crazy everything that's going on in Hollywood right now. You're either going to prison or people are going to Jesus. And it was such an interesting statement. Yeah. I was like, that's
I love
so
that.
true.
It's so true.
Yeah. I mean, you pick a side essentially every day and in every situation that we're in.
Tell yourself, you pick a side.
Yeah. And you better have that armor of God on going into it to begin with, because when you're faced with those decisions, it's important to recognize what is good, what is evil, what is God, what is not. So yeah, that's beautiful, that you had that, that you were equipped with that coming into it, and you knew who you were. So that's beautiful. And it's a beautiful message, for people to hear that, and these are things, women our age, I don't know how old you are, but women our age as adults, you would think that we'd have it all figured out, right? But no, I'm still learning lessons today, and every day, again, like we're faced with these decisions of, are you going to pick the right way or the wrong way? What are you willing to compromise? So it is important to know who you are and stand strong in that. So that is a beautiful message for people. Wow. Yeah. So yeah, is there anything else that you wanted to touch on before we log off?
I don't know. Ask me questions. You're so good at it.
I think that's everything. I mean, how old are your kids now?
So my daughter, she is 2, and my son is going to turn 4 in April. So
Okay.
that's another thing. If somebody would ask me that I would have 2 kids, maybe like 10 years ago, I would say you're crazy.
Not a chance.
That's another thing that I'm grateful to God.
Yeah.
No, because I had really, really strong anxiety, medical anxiety. Like if somebody would draw like blood from my finger, I would like pass out, so
really,
so that's a really, really, it's impossible to do without God. If you have a goal to have children, and you have certain thing that I was going through, and when I was so scared, and I prayed to God. I remember I was like, God, please help me go through this journey, and He helped me, and I held my child, and it was just, I can't believe this is a miracle.
wow.
And it was also an action of faith, I believe, for myself, because I trusted God. I said, God, my fears, my struggles, my anxiety. It comes from childhood. He knows me. He knows everybody. Everyone. And I said, I'm gonna go through this. Please help me, because I can't do this without you. And it was a really difficult journey. mentally, it was mentally really difficult.
Yeah.
And of course physically later on, but again, another miracle. So any steps in my life, that I took, I couldn't do without God. So I'm so grateful and blessed, yeah. So that's another thing, that hey, if you're becoming a mommy,
Yeah.
you
You're going to need Jesus.
and then the child, when you hold the child, you're like, how is this possible? There was like a human being. It was a human being in my belly.
Yeah.
So that's another. How can you say no, that there is no God, after you see a child in your hands,
You
in
know
like
what?
9 months? I don't know.
It's so funny that you say that. My sister's ex-husband, when she delivered her son, that's when he became a believer. He was atheist before that. And when she delivered her son, he became a believer right there at the birth. So
Yeah.
yeah, that is so funny that you say that. Yeah, that
Yeah,
just that in itself is a miracle. So that's beautiful. I guess my other question would be too, I know that there is a lot of single, Christian women that would be watching this video. And so you being married and being in a godly marriage, what advice would you have for women right now who are believing for God to send them a spouse?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was there, before. Of course, I was a single uh, lady, and I was looking for that one person. I'm an old soul, I was never, I didn't want to have a relationship, so most of the guys, males that were interested in me, they were in my circle of friends, and never kind of, I didn't want to go too far, just kind of keep them there. But my advice is, do an action. Like, if you want to find, you can't just sit and just wait. And even if you strong in faith, you just sit and wait, God is gonna give me somebody, I'm just gonna walk down the street, and then all of a sudden there's somebody who's gonna be walking down the same street. It's like, I mean, usually it doesn't work like this. You got to get active, you got to find opportunities to meet young men. And I'm not saying just right away jump in the relationships, like many women do, because they're just so starved, they just want love, they're starved, and they're just like, okay, 1 2 3 4. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. When I say like do actions, I don't mean just go and start right away to see a man and give him a green light. No, I didn't mean that. So I mean by meeting people, giving them opportunity, being around you, like how I do. So it's just kind of like being around, see what they're talking about, what their interests. Go on that hike, go on that, whatever they want to take you, and just get to know them. Don't rush, and start a relationship. No, just be active. Be here and there, and go, just don't close yourself in the room, and just rely on just others, just like bringing the person. That's not going to happen. I don't think that's the way. I mean, if you're, I don't know, what are you going to do for God to be just like, okay, yeah, it's gonna be easy, for this person in particularly.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think it's gonna be really challenging, and you gotta understand that it's not gonna be easy. It's not just swipe like these people like advertise on TV. Oh, just a swipe, and then you just and it's like, I mean, that's not. I mean, maybe some kind of like a just 1 or 2 day relationship with swipe, yes, but I'm talking about real finding your spouse. And I think you got to do a lot of work. Single woman, You got to do a lot of work. You got to get out there. You got to be like a yes person, like kind of like, hey, would you like to go to this, place? Yes, say yes. Just get to know a person. Don't block the person right away. Like, for example, with my husband, like I met him and then I was like, I'm not really interested, and
How
if
funny.
yeah, just yeah, I was just like, okay, well, I said you can be my friend or something, but like, not nothing. He didn't attract me like right away. But then if you're a good person, you try to get to know a person, like kind of get to know his inner world. What is he interested? What kind of person he is. And I think when you give chances, um, and if you're like really ready for a family, like if you just want to go have fun, yeah, okay. But if you're ready for family, you're looking for somebody that is also looking for family. So that's also another thing, ask, just like slightly kind of in the conversation, like, what are you seeking? What do you just want to have fun, or you ready for to create a family? I think it's very important. So yeah, that's my advice of just like getting out there, being active, don't give up. Don't be one of those people that like went on 3 dates and then like, okay, this is not working out for me.
Yeah.
This is like, God, and then blaming God, like, why God doesn't bring anybody. No, you gotta do the work. You have a lot of work to do. But another thing, you just gotta, I think, uh, turn on your magnetic, this is like female type energy. I think it's very important. If you're very like closed off and kind of try to find the faults in the person, then you will find like million faults in the person. But if you put that, magical female, we know how to do it. Come on, we know how to walk in the room, and well, you got to turn that on, so they kind of, oh, okay. So yeah, that's my advice.
Beautiful. I love it. Oh, well, what a beautiful story. And I love the fact that you have your kids, you're raising them up in faith as well. And, you've got your wonderful husband. And I'm just so glad, that you talking about how you started out and where you are now. And you've ended up in, a place, a country with two kids that you thought you may never have, and
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
yeah, here you are, you just never know. And you're just staying close to God. And I love it. I love it. Well, I really hope that we stay in contact, over the years. And I can't wait to see what else God has for you in your life. And again, I just really appreciate you coming on and sharing your testimony with everybody. When I saw your video, you just looked like an angel. And I could tell that it was very authentic and it was something that was really important to you. And I just had to have you on. So thank you again.
Monica, thank you so much for your positive energy, your sweet, personality. Thank you. And of course, we're going to keep in touch.
Yes,
And I hope God
absolutely.
will, bless you with many, many, many wonderful things because you deserve it.
Oh, thank you so much. And same to you and your entire family. I love your testimony. It's beautiful. And I know that it will reach who it needs to reach. I do have faith in that.